If you feel like you're constantly experiencing acne breakouts, but you don't know where you're going wrong, watch this entire video. I'm gonna share 5 really simple tricks you can do at home to prevent acne. Hey guys, it's Dr. Mona, and today's video is all about how to prevent acne, but it's really easy little tips that you can incorporate at home. I've got some lifestyle tips to share. Nothing really major. I really didn't want to focus this video on like specific active ingredients or medications. I wanted to just teach you little things that you might not even realize that you could improve on, and they will really make a huge difference. Now, I do want to also say a little bit of acne is totally normal. You're never going to go your whole life without experiencing one breakout. When you're traveling, it can be common, but doing these little things as preventative measures can make a world of difference. Sometimes even though I know all of them, I'll like travel and I'll forget, and lo and behold, I will break out. So it can be frustrating. But when I'm on top of my game and I put in the effort to do all these little preventative measures, I get much better results. So the first thing I want to talk about is removing your makeup, which I'm sure you've heard. We all know you should remove your makeup, but there's a little more to it than that. So there's tons of cleansers out there that, basically say they can remove makeup, remove like impurities, and also cleanse your face at the same time. And they're kind of like that all-in-one. I'm really not a fan of these. I just don't think they do a good enough job cleaning off your makeup. So I like to make sure that I'm really getting all my makeup off. One thing I do, I have this like massive thing of white washcloths, super inexpensive. I have a bunch of them and I wash them every week. I like to use a separate one every time I'm removing my makeup, and I also will wash my face, and I'll use a white washcloth specifically so that I can see if there's any remnants of makeup I'm not done. Like, I want to make sure all of it's off, and that 8 hours when I'm sleeping and my face is pressed against the pillow, I don't have any makeup that's just like seeping into my pores. So that's one thing. The other is making sure that you use 2 cleansers. The first one should be some kind of like oil cleanser. You could even use like a micellar water and use like little cotton pads to remove it. Whatever you want to take as your first measure, just make sure you're using a makeup remover first. There are also makeup removing wipes. I'm not a huge fan unless they're really, really like soaking wet and moisturized, because if they're dry, you're just pulling and tugging a lot on your face. So my favorite thing to do is use an oil cleanser. There's so many different brands. This one's Dermalogica. I'm just gonna show you guys a little example. Just like on my hand. Don't mind my white hands. My spray tan always stays on my hands first. So I just put a little bit of makeup on my hands so we can try removing it. So I'm doing a regular cleanser on one side. Just kind of rubbing that in with a little bit of water. And then on the other side, I'm gonna do an oil cleanser. Let's just see the difference. Even when I use the oil cleanser, I like to put it on my face with no water, just right over my makeup, and then I will take a cotton pad and wipe it off. So this is one side. This is the other. So I wiped off one side from the oil cleanser, one side with the regular cleanser. The oil cleanser is off so much more. There's hardly any remnants. The regular cleanser, there's still got a pretty big stripe here. I don't know if you guys can see that, but tons more. I'm having to like press much harder. It just doesn't work as well. An oil cleanser, you put it on, it's actually really soothing on your face. Like, it glides right on. Use a little cotton pad to wipe it off, and then follow with your normal cleanser. And I really suggest the white washcloth rule because it's so easy and it's inexpensive. In fact, it's, you don't have to keep buying cotton rounds or anything, and just use a new one every night, because it's another thing, like your washcloth, let's say it's hanging up and then it falls on the floor, or maybe you use it to dry your hands when you're in a rush, or maybe you didn't get all the makeup off, so it's got like extra makeup on it. There's so many little things that can happen, and it's so easy to just have a ton of them, do laundry once a week, and then you're done. So the next tip I want to share is making sure you clean your makeup brushes. So we don't only have to focus on getting the makeup off our face, we also have to make sure we're getting it off the brushes, because the brushes are going to be going onto our face. So it's kind of just, a little loop here. And I know it can be annoying. Honestly, I used to hate washing my brushes because you have to let them dry, and there's some that are like sprays that like wash it off right away, but then I'm like, what kind of chemical is in that to clean it off right away? So I went through a lot of these, but there's this really cool little gadget that I'm super excited to share because it makes it so easy. This is by Sigma Beauty. First of all, their brushes are also really great because they're antimicrobial. So they're vegan, they're cruelty-free, they're antimicrobial. So even having like that technology built in will already help prevent the bacteria that builds up on here. Just one quick note on the different kinds of bacteria, because I feel like if you know this, it will motivate you to clean them more. You know, there's normal bacteria that lives everywhere. Like there's certain bacteria that lives in our skin, there's certain bacteria that lives in your mouth, different parts of your body, but they're supposed to be there and we kind of adapt to that. So it's kind of the same reason, like if you cut your hand or cut your leg, there's a group of antibiotics that most doctors will prescribe right away because that's gonna treat the bacteria on your skin. Now, where it gets messy is if you're using makeup, it's sitting here, especially if it's on a wet surface. So like think beauty blenders, or if you have like a little setting spray and your brush gets wet, that like moist, warm environment is just perfect for more bacteria to grow. So then you've got bacteria growing in your brushes, which is gross. They're multiplying. Then you use this brush and put it on your face. So your face is getting like a different kind of bacteria than it knows how to handle, if that makes sense. Like there's, you know, little bacteria that should be there, totally normal. We know how to stabilize to that. But when we're getting different kind of bacteria, that's when you can get a lot of acne. So if you notice, especially like, let's say where you use a brush more, you get those little white bumps or even just like bumpy texture. Sometimes that's the bacteria from your brush. So that was just my little spiel on that. I had to just teach because you know how gross it is. You are motivated to do it more. So anyway, these brushes are really cool because they are antimicrobial, but there's also brush cleaner and there's this mitt. So the mitt is super easy. You basically put it on, because for me, like I usually wash it in the palm of my hand or like in a bowl. I didn't know what to do. So you just wet the mitt like this and you do a few pumps on here. And the brush also, the mitt has a bunch of different textures throughout it. So it's meant to like really clean the brush. I like to get the brush a little bit wet too. And then you just kind of circle it around. Oh, I can see all of the makeup coming off. And make sure that there is no residue. You can see, no more residue, perfect. And then if that wasn't cute enough, there's this cute little like stand that you can dry them on. Basically, the point of this is so that you dry them down. So there's two sections. There's one here where you can just dry them down for the little ones. Then there's one down here where you can just slide them up from the bottom. And this is if you don't want to lose the shape of your brush, because sometimes when they dry, they can like be a little bit flat or like wispy. So that can really help with this. So this is the little stand. Again, I love that it dries down. Not only does it make it dry faster, but also you don't want to keep any water or moisture in your brushes. I used to always have to lay them flat for this reason. So if you guys want to check these out, I really think you're going to love them. I will link it below. And Sigma Beauty also has a 2-year warranty. So for any of their gadgets or brushes, if anything happens, it's good to know that you have a warranty on that. So my next tip, of course, is a diet tip, because it always comes back to food, because you guys, what you put in your body is so important. Your skin is the only organ that actually lives outside your body, which is pretty crazy to think about. Everything else we can't see. Like we can't see if our lungs are unhealthy or our kidneys are unhealthy, but we can see our skin, so we know that something is going on inside. So food plays a major role here. Certain foods that I really recommend for acne are things that are water-filled and filled with fiber. So water and fiber both are gonna help flush out toxins, keep everything moving, keep your skin hydrated. When your skin is dry, another thing, you might overproduce oil to overcompensate, and that oil can end up leading to clogged pores and acne. So some of my favorite foods would be like celery, cucumber, watermelon, things like that that are full of fiber. Apples are amazing. Drinking a lot of water and making sure you're hydrated. Berries are really great. And then let's also not forget about foods to eliminate. So certain foods that are just known to make acne worse, make your skin worse, and overall are just unhealthy. So avoiding gluten if you can, avoiding dairy, avoiding processed foods, and just trying to eat clean in general. I always say, any tip that I have for your skin, for your energy, for your weight is all gonna be synonymous to the other, because I would never recommend something that's good for one part of your body or skin that's not good for another, that could damage you, which is why I have such an issue with a lot of the fad diets, because they might be good for weight, but they're not good for your overall health. So all of this is just good practice to get into anyway. The fourth tip I have is a really simple one, and it's free. clean your hands before touching your face. This sounds like it'd be common sense, but I never even noticed it. I remember sitting in class, I wouldn't notice it. I would always kind of like be resting my face on my hand and maybe like, just like, you do weird things when you're sitting there, you don't even notice. So definitely pay attention to this. One thing I love to do is keep a little mini hand sanitizer. Whole Foods has a great one. It's like a lavender spray, and I use that all the time. I mean, if you can wash your hands, great, but if you feel like you're gonna be touching your face, if you're traveling, anything, this is just, I mean, it's a perfect way to get more bacteria on your face and cause breakouts. And the last thing is pillowcases. So kind of like my weird washcloth thing, I love to replace my pillowcase pretty often. You know, it might be a little bit more money to buy a few extra ones, but it's a one-time investment that will last you years. And I think it's worth it because if you get a lot of breakouts, you're just gonna have to spend more money on facials and products, and it's just not worth it. So I love like a good silk pillowcase. I like replacing it at like every 2 nights or so. If my hair is dirty, especially like let's say I come from a plane, it's not touching my pillowcase, make sure that stays clean. Your face is on it for like a good 6 to 8 hours every single night. So silk is really good to make sure you prevent wrinkles, but you know, for acne, I would say just make sure you're always using a clean pillowcase. One thing I've also done, just a little hot tip, if I don't have a clean pillowcase on hand, I will take a towel or like a t-shirt that's clean and just put it over just for the night, whatever. Then I'll do laundry in the morning. At least I know I'm not sleeping on something that's dirty. So those are my 5 tips for acne. I think these are all really easy lifestyle things you can just incorporate. Nothing is too intense or takes too much effort. I love the Sigma Beauty one. Like I said, I will link that below. It's honestly super fun. Like the mitt is really fun and just makes it easy. So anything that can make something easier into your routine, just I feel like I'll end up doing more. So I hope you guys like this video. If you have any questions, again, let me know what topics you like. I've been doing a little more skincare lately. I feel like you guys have been liking that content. So leave all your thoughts in the comments, and please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.